That day was Jiangwan's birthday. I worked 2 extra hours, squeezed onto the last subway train, and rushed over. Pushing open the private room door, I saw her lean in and plant a kiss on Hee-jun's cheek. The room erupted in cheers and whistles. She turned to look at me, still smiling. Just kidding. I placed the gift box on the coffee table, turned, and left. That night, I boarded a southbound green train, snapped my SIM card in half, and tossed it into the trash. 3 years later, I had my own studio in Hangzhou. Until that day at an industry cocktail party, a gaunt woman blocked my path, her hands trembling so much she couldn't hold her wine glass. She said, "Lin Bei, I've been looking for you for 3 years. Come on, give us a kiss." The private room was dimly lit, the music so loud it made temples throb. Hee-jun held a wine glass, one arm draped over Jiangwan's shoulder, his face flushed red as he shouted to the people around him. A few others nearby joined in the rowdy cheering. Yes, give me a kiss. He's just a close friend, not an outsider. I stood at the door, clutching a gift box wrapped in silver ribbon. It had been less than 2 minutes since I pushed the door open and entered. Today is Jiangwan's 24th birthday. I worked overtime at the company until 9:30 p.m., caught the last subway, transferred twice along the way, and ran for 10 minutes after getting off the train. She saw me. Across the entire compartment, Jiangwan turned her head and winked at me. I recognized that look. It was her way of acting cute, meaning, "Don't mind it, okay?" Then she really leaned in. Her lips touched Hee-jun's cheek. Quickly. Less than a second. The private room erupted in even louder laughter. Hee-jun raised his head and downed the wine in his glass, then patted Jiangwan on the back. "You're a real friend." I didn't move. The gift box in my hand suddenly felt extremely heavy. Jiangwan turned back to look at me with a smile. She was still smiling, but upon seeing my expression, that smile slowly faded. I walked over. Placed the gift box on the coffee table. Turned around and walked out. "Damn it!" she shouted from behind. I didn't stop. The corridor lights were too bright, glaring white. I walked quickly, my shoes tapping against the floor tiles in rapid succession. The elevator was on the 12th floor. I couldn't wait. I pushed open the fire exit door and leaped down the stairs 2 at a time. The phone buzzed in my pocket. Once, twice, 3 times. I pulled it out, didn't look, and silenced it directly. Pushing open the front door on the 1st floor, the night wind hit my face, very cool. I stood by the roadside, fishing out a cigarette from my pocket. My hands were trembling slightly. It took 4 tries with the lighter to get it lit. Halfway through the cigarette, my phone screen lit up again. A WeChat message from Jiangwan. "Why did you leave? What are you angry about?" "I was just joking around with Hee-jun, you know what he's like." "What's there to be angry about?" I stared at the screen. Then opened the contacts, find her name, and block her. Block her on WeChat. Unfollow her on Weibo. Unfollow her on Douyin. One by one, sever every connection you can think of. By the time I finished all this, the cigarette had burned down to the filter. I tossed the butt into the trash and hailed a taxi. "Driver, to the train station." The driver glanced at me. "There are no high-speed trains at this time." "A green train will do. Any destination is fine." It was already past 11 when I returned to the rental apartment. Studio apartment, monthly rent 1,300, commute to work takes an hour and a half. The room is sparsely furnished. A bed, a wardrobe, a desk. On the desk lies the movie ticket stub from last week when I went to see a film with Jiangwan. I start packing my luggage. A suitcase, a few clothes, a laptop, a charger, a toiletry bag. The scarf she gave me, the plush toy we won from the claw machine together, and some other miscellaneous keepsakes, all stuffed into a cardboard box and pushed under the bed. After tidying up, it was 1 in the morning. I sat on the edge of the bed and glanced around the room I had lived in for 2 years. There was a water stain in the corner, shaped like a fish. On the day we moved in, Jiangwan said, "Look, these fish are quite cute." The phone vibrated again. Hee-jun. "Come on, man, was that really necessary?" "It was just a joke." "You're being too petty." I turned off my phone. I took out my ID card and bank card from the drawer and stuffed them into the inner pocket of my jacket. When I pulled my suitcase out the door, the hallway light was broken, and I couldn't see anything. The suitcase wheels bumped and clattered loudly on the steps. There are still a few slow trains at the train station in the early morning. I bought a ticket to Hangzhou, the next available one, at 3:20 a.m. The waiting hall was sparsely populated, some dozing off wrapped in their coats, others squatting in a corner eating instant noodles. The air carried a mix of instant noodle seasoning and sweat. I sat on the hard plastic chair and turned on my phone. Dozens of unread messages. From Jiangwan. From Hejun. From a few mutual friends. Lin Bei, what are you doing? Not answering calls, not replying to messages? I'm really speechless. What's the big deal? Can you come back so we can talk this through properly? Hejun said he was just drunk, and he's already apologized. Lin Bei, I know I was wrong. Will you please answer the phone? The last one was sent 3 minutes ago. What do you want from me? I stared at those words. For a long time. Replied with 2 words. Break up. Send it. Block them. Turn it off. The car is here. I dragged my suitcase onto the train and found my seat. By the window. The carriage was nearly empty. Across from me sat a middle-aged man, his head tilted as he slept. The train began to move. Outside the window, the city slowly receded into the distance, its lights blurring into a faint, continuous line. I remember 2 years ago, also at night, Jiangwan took me to the train station. That time I was going away for a 2-month training, and she clung to my arm, saying we would video call every day and that she would miss me. She said, "Come back soon." I said, "Okay." Back then, I thought we could keep going together forever. Outside the train window, the city vanished, leaving only vast stretches of darkness. I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes. I hadn't slept a wink all night. At dawn, the train stopped at a small station whose name I couldn't pronounce. I got off the bus, found a service center in the square in front of the station, and bought a new SIM card. I took the old card out of my phone, snapped it in half, and threw it into the trash can. I sent an email to the company's HR department using the new number, with just 1 line. Family matters, I resign. Then I bought a bus ticket to Hangzhou. 6 hours. I sat in the last row, put on my headphones, and played nothing. I just didn't want to hear the people next to me talking. The bus sped along the highway. Outside the window, the view shifted from plains to hills, then to endless stretches of factories and apartment buildings. I leaned against the window, my mind completely blank. Not angry, not sad, just empty. Like a room that has been emptied, not even a speck of dust remains. Arriving in Hangzhou was just after 3 in the afternoon. Stepping out of the station, the heat rushed up to meet me. Unlike the north, the air here is sticky, clinging to the skin. Found the cheapest youth hostel, an 8-person room, 45 per night. After dropping off my luggage, I went out to find an internet cafe and started sending out my resume. Advertising design, graduated from a second-tier university, 2 years of work experience. In Hangzhou, resumes like this are a dime a dozen. By the time I sent out over 80 letters, it was already dark. I rubbed my sore eyes, turned off the computer, and left the internet cafe. The night snack stalls by the street were emitting greasy smoke, mingling with the damp evening air. I bought a plate of fried rice noodles and squatted by the roadside to eat. The noodles were too oily, and the vegetables were undercooked. But I finished eating. Back at the hostel, no one else was in the room. I took a cold shower and lay on the hard bed. Someone in the top bunk is snoring. The person in the next bed is scrolling through short videos, playing the audio out loud at full volume. It's that kind of repetitive, brainwashing background music. I stared at the underside of the bunk above me. I remembered this afternoon, while waiting for a reply at the internet cafe, I impulsively logged into my old WeChat account. There were over a dozen friend requests piled up. All of them are from Jiangwan. The latest one was sent at noon. Lin Bei, I was wrong. Please answer the phone, okay? Let's talk in person. Hejun and I really have nothing going on. We're just friends. Please come back, I'm begging you. I won't do it again in the future. I watched for a while. Log out. I deleted that WeChat account. Now lying in the dark, I suddenly remembered something. Today is our anniversary. 2 years ago today, I was waiting for her downstairs at her dorm, holding a bouquet of daisies I bought from a roadside flower shop. She said, "How did you know I like daisies?" I said, "Just a guess." She took the flowers, stood on tiptoe, and gave me a quick peck on the cheek. That peck back then, and the one in the private room last night. It feels like a lifetime away. The phone buzzed once. The first message on the new number. It was an interview invitation from a small advertising company, tomorrow afternoon at 2. I replied. Got it. Tucked the phone under the pillow. Time to sleep. Need to look for a job tomorrow. I have to keep living in this city where no one knows me. Before the interview the next day, I made a mistake. I woke up too early in the morning, before 6, when everyone else in the hostel was still asleep. Bored out of my mind, I opened my phone and, as if possessed, clicked into Heejun's Weibo. Haven't blocked this one. He posted a status update yesterday with a photo. It was taken in that private room, the night before last, which was Jiangwan's birthday. In the photo, Heejun has his arm around Jiangwan's shoulder. The two of them are very close together, smiling happily. The caption reads, "Someone's birthday must be there." In the comments someone asked, "Girlfriend?" He replied with an ambiguous emoji. I scrolled down. A month ago, he posted a photo of a coffee shop with the silhouette of a girl in the background, long hair, white dress. Jiangwan bought a white dress last month, and I went with her. 2 months ago, Heejun posted a status. Dropping someone off late at night, freezing cold. The location was near Jiangwan's neighborhood. 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Every 10 days or so, there would be a post related to Jiangwan, some obvious, some subtle. And on those dates, what Jiangwan told me was always, having dinner with roommates today, working overtime. Or, going to bed early. I closed Weibo. Sitting by the bed, I watched the sky outside the window slowly brighten. It turns out it wasn't just about that one kiss. It turns out that in places I didn't know about, things had already changed. The interview was held in an old office building in Gongshu district. The elevator was very slow, and the walls were covered with small advertisements. The company is called Yuanxing Advertising, with a modest storefront. A girl chewing gum sits at the reception desk. She glanced at me. Here for an interview? Yes, at 2 o'clock with Lin Bei. Take a seat over there and wait. President Tao is in a meeting. I sat down on the plastic chair beside me. Several people arrived one after another, all younger than me, dressed more neatly, and holding printed portfolios in their hands. I touched my backpack. I had left in a hurry and brought nothing with me. At 2:15, the receptionist called me in. The office was cluttered with sample catalogs and display stands. Behind the desk sat a man in his 40s, with thinning hair, frowning at his computer. He lifted his chin slightly, signaling for me to sit. Lin Bei? I've read your resume. Came from the north? Yes. Why come to Hangzhou? Wanted a change of scenery. He looked up and studied me for a few seconds. Last job lasted 2 years, why quit so suddenly? Personal reasons. What reasons? I paused for a moment. We broke up. He paused for a moment, probably never having heard someone say this in an interview. Then he smiled. All right, quite straightforward. Do you have any work samples? I have digital copies, but I didn't bring them. Then tell me, what's the best thing you've ever created? I thought about it and mentioned a visual design proposal I once did for a shopping mall's 5th anniversary. It went through 17 revisions and cost me 4 all-nighters. In the end, the client chose another company's proposal. I said it in a very flat tone. After hearing this, Mr. Tao tapped his fingers on the table a few times. Do you know how many designers of your caliber there are in Hangzhou? I know a lot. Then why do you think I hired you? I'm cheap, I said. Just arrived, desperate for work, willing to take low pay. He laughed again. Come to work tomorrow. There's a 3-month probation period with a monthly salary of 4,000, which will increase to 5,200 after probation. Accommodation is in the neighborhood behind, 4 people to a room. Is that okay? Okay. Be here by 9, don't be late. Stepping out of the office building, the afternoon sun was blazing. I stood by the roadside for a while before I came to my senses. So I just found a job like that? 4,000 yuan in Hangzhou, after deducting food and transportation, I can save a little over 1,000. But at least tonight I don't have to stay in the 45 yuan youth hostel anymore. The dorm is on the 6th floor, with no elevator. I carried my suitcase up and knocked on the door. The one who opened the door was a bespectacled guy, half a head shorter than me, holding a bowl of instant noodles. New here? Yes, Lin Bei. Come in, the lower bunk by the window is yours. He stepped aside. My name's Lu Cheng, I've been here for 3 months. The other two, one's out on fieldwork, the other works the night shift, so we don't see each other much. The room was tiny. 4 bunk beds were crammed in, with an old table squeezed in the middle. My bed was the farthest in, with a yellow bamboo mat spread over the board. The suitcase was stuffed under the bed, and I sat down. Outside the window, the exterior wall of another building was so close I could almost reach out and touch it. Recruited by President Tao? Lu Qing asked, slurping his noodles. That's okay, this guy may be stingy, but he doesn't delay wages. He finished the noodle soup. Where are you from? The north. What brings you to Hangzhou? Broke up. He let out an "oh" and didn't press further. It seemed this reason was all too common in this city. At 9 o'clock the next morning, I arrived at the company right on time. Boss Tao tossed a stack of documents my way. This is a client's product brochure, 40 pages, with the first draft due in 5 days. All the requirements are in there. If you have any questions, ask Lu Qing. I opened the materials. A small factory making kitchenware, with crookedly taken photos and contradictory product descriptions. I turned on the computer and started organizing the pages one by one. Lu Qing sat beside me and whispered, "This kind of job is the most frustrating. The boss's taste is stuck in the last century. No matter what you do, he's never satisfied." Sure enough, the client called in the afternoon. On speakerphone, a man with a gruff voice shouted from the other end. "Xiao Tao, make the cover red for me, something festive. The kind of red you see during New Year." Mr. Tao gestured at me with his lips. I nodded and wrote on the notepad, "Red festive." After hanging up the phone, Mr. Tao sighed. "You heard him. Just follow along. In our line of work, the client is always right. If they say mud looks good, you say it looks good." I opened the design software and started adjusting the colors. As I worked, my hand paused. I remembered how Jiang Wan always complained that my designs were too plain. She loved bright colors, the more vivid the better. Once I made her a phone wallpaper using a large swath of lavender purple and bright pink. She was so delighted that she took a screenshot and shared it in 3 group chats. "You zoned out." Lu Qing nudged my arm. I snapped back to attention. "You were staring at the screen for half a minute just now." "No, just thinking about color schemes." "What's there to think about? Just go with red." We spent the whole afternoon tinkering on the computer and finally came up with a cover that was red without being too eye-straining. By the time we saved it, it was already completely dark outside. Everyone else in the company had already left. "Let's go, time to eat." Lu Qing turned off his computer. "You go ahead, I'll just tweak the inner pages a bit more." "Working this hard?" "Anyway, there's nothing to do back home." Lu Qing left. The office fell quiet. I continued staring at the screen, adjusting the layout page by page. The night is deep, and the only sound left in the entire building is the occasional footsteps of a passing security guard in the hallway. Reaching page 15, my eyes begin to ache. Picking up my phone, there are no new messages, no missed calls. That number I blocked has never called again. It's good, I said to myself. Everything is completely over. Save, shut down, turn off the lights. Stepping out of the office building, the night breeze carried the unique dampness and warmth of Hangzhou. There weren't many cars on the road. In the distance, a building still had its lights on. Who else was working late? My phone vibrated. A message came in from Lu Qing. "Forgot to tell you, the client is coming to review the draft at 10 a.m. Tomorrow. Director Tao wants you to present." I replied. "Got it." Put the phone back in my pocket. Walking towards the dormitory. The streetlights stretched the shadows long. Passing by the breakfast stall at the entrance of the residential area, it had already closed, leaving only an empty metal cart. I stared at it for a few seconds. Go upstairs. Still have to work tomorrow. Still have to deal with that client who wants a red cover. Still have to survive in this city. That call finally came. I couldn't stop it. That night, after finishing overtime and returning to the dormitory, I took a shower and had just lain down when my phone rang. Unknown number. I hesitated for 2 seconds before answering. No words were spoken. The other end also fell silent for a moment. Then a woman's voice came through, tinged with cautious hesitation. "Lin Bei?" "It's Jiang Wan." I held the phone without speaking. "Lin Bei, is that you? I contacted so many people just to get your new number." Don't hang up, I just need to say 2 things. She spoke quickly, as if afraid I would hang up at any moment. I was wrong about what happened that day. I drank too much, Hee-jun was egging me on, and I just acted on impulse. There's really nothing between us, just ordinary friends. You know him, that's just his personality. Are you done? I spoke. She stopped. After 2 or 3 seconds, she whispered, No. Lin Bei, I was wrong. Please come back, okay? Let's meet and talk properly. I promise I will never. We broke up. I didn't agree. Her voice suddenly rose. You just sent 2 words on WeChat and that's it? We've been together for 2 years, 2 years. You can't just dismiss everything because I made one mistake. So what? I asked. 2 years, and that's your reason for kissing someone else right in front of me? It was just a peck on the cheek. Just a quick touch. Is there a difference? The other end of the line went silent. I heard her sniffle. A long time passed. Lin Bei, today is our 2-year anniversary. Do you remember? You waited for me downstairs, holding daisies in your hand, you said. I don't remember. I interrupted her. Jiangwan, it's all in the past. I've found a job in Hangzhou, and I'm not going back. Stop calling me. Hangzhou? You went that far? Her voice grew panicked. Lin Bei, don't do this. I'll buy a ticket and come find you. We can talk in person. No need. Wait. She said anxiously. Just one last thing. Have you never trusted me all along? Do you think there's something between me and Hee-jun? I held my phone. Outside the window, the faint sound of traffic drifted in from the street. This question, I had actually asked myself the same thing. Is it that I don't believe her? Or that I don't believe myself? Is it because of that kiss? Or because of the slow, inexplicable distance that has built up over these 2 years? It doesn't matter anymore. I said. Goodbye. Hang up. Block. The motion was so fluid it felt unfamiliar even to me. Lu Qing peeked down from the upper bunk. You okay? I'm fine. Ex-girlfriend? Yeah. It's always like this. He shrank back. It's like this right after a breakup, but it gets better after a while. Is that so? I don't know. However, there have been some changes at work. For the client proposal the next day, President Tao asked me to present. I followed the approach Lu Qing taught me, saying a bunch of things like international mainstream style and visual flow guidance. That loud voice boss was stunned, and in the end, it actually got approved. After the meeting, Director Tao patted me on the shoulder and said, Not bad, Shaolin. You've got quite a way with words. That was the first time I was praised since joining this company. Although the praise wasn't for the design itself. A week later, things took another turn. That afternoon, I was at my workstation revising the 3rd version of the kitchenware catalog. The client's demands were getting increasingly absurd. First, they wanted red, then gold trim, and later insisted on adding their own photo to the cover. To convey the vibe of a successful entrepreneur. I pulled up a selfie they had sent, balding, wearing a floral shirt, giving a thumbs up in front of the workshop entrance. Lu Qing leaned over for a look and couldn't help but burst out laughing. I'm working on image matting when my phone vibrates. Unknown number. Location shows my hometown. It rings again. I hang up. After 5 minutes, it came again. Dismissed it. 3 minutes later, a text message. Lin Bei, it's Hee-jun. Jiangwan is in the hospital with acute gastric bleeding from drinking. She didn't want me to tell you, but I think you should know. I stared at that text message. The words on the screen were small, but every single one was crystal clear. Gastric bleeding. Her stomach had always been weak. When we were together, how many times did I remind her to drink less alcohol and avoid cold food? She would always agree verbally, only to turn around and continue drinking and eating as before. I once got upset with her because of this. She comforted me in return. It's nothing, why are you worrying? Now she's hospitalized. Who's with her? Her parents are out of town, friends. Hee-jun is there. Yes. Hee-jun will go. Hee-jun has always been there. I deleted the text message. I put the phone face down on the table and continued editing the image. What's wrong? Lu Qing asked. Nothing. That night, I searched online for what to do about acute gastric bleeding. After reading a few results, I closed the page. What does it have to do with me? We've already broken up. But that night I couldn't sleep. My mind was filled with all sorts of messy images. Jianwan lay on the hospital bed, her complexion pale, with an 4 needle inserted into the back of her hand. Is she scared? She's always been terrified of injections. Every time she gets blood drawn during a checkup, she clutches my hand so tightly her knuckles turn white. I turned over in bed. Turned over again. The bed creaked. Lu Qing mumbled from above. Stop moving. His voice slurred, half asleep. I forced myself to close my eyes. A thought nagged, make the call, just ask one question, confirm she's okay, that's all. Another thought says, and then what? After confirming, then what? Can you go back? Can you pretend that nothing happened that night? Can you pretend that those ambiguous posts on Heejun's Weibo don't exist? I pulled the blanket over my head. No hitting. No asking. It's none of my business anymore. I worked at Yuanqing Advertising for half a month. The tasks became increasingly varied. Corporate brochures, menu designs, Taobao product pages, real estate flyers, we took on everything. Boss Tao's principle was simple: if they paid, we did it. I had no right to be picky. A new client came in that day. She ran a chain of milk tea shops, a woman in her early 30s with a ponytail, speaking in a sharp tone. You've done design work for my competitor before, right? That tea fairy next door? Manager Tao smiled apologetically. We have, but our confidentiality awareness is very strong. Cut the crap. She rolled her eyes. I don't care who you've worked for before. My requirement is simple: the final product must look 10 times better than theirs. Budget is 3,000, not a cent more. 3,000 yuan for a complete brand visual identity. Director Tao agreed readily. After the client left, he assigned the job to me. Xiaolin, you handle this. 3,000 for the whole set? They've opened 7 branches. If we do well, there's potential for long-term cooperation. Manager Tao lit a cigarette. Just treat it as practice. I opened my computer and started brainstorming. Bubble tea brand, targeting young consumers, needs to have a sense of fashion and memorable elements. Completely different from the corporate brochures we've done before. I've tried several color schemes, but none of them satisfy me. Lu Qing came by for a look after work. The color tone you've got is too serious. For milk tea, make it sweeter. What do you mean by sweeter? You know. Look at the colors those trendy shops use: pink, purple, cream, colors that make people want to drink it at first glance. Staring at the screen, I suddenly had an idea. Avoid those overused macaron colors. Use a set of low-saturation traditional Chinese colors: osmanthus yellow, billuoco green, and lotus root purple, paired with a handwritten brand name. Completely different from the visual style of all other milk tea brands on the market. But the client might not buy into it. I hesitated for a few seconds, then created 2 versions. One was the conventional, internet-famous style, and the other was my own idea. It was already 2A. When I finished, everyone else in the dorm was asleep. I tiptoed through my bedtime routine and lay down on the bed. Just as I closed my eyes, my phone lit up. It wasn't a call, it was a text message. It's Heejun again. Lin Bei, Jianwan has been discharged from the hospital, but she's in very poor condition. She's lost a lot of weight. Do you really not care at all? I stared at that line of text for a long time. Then deleted it. Put the phone under the pillow. Whether you care or not is no longer the point. The point is, some things are broken once they're broken. Even if you glue them back together, the cracks remain. Proposal day at the milk tea shop. The client arrived at the company, and the woman with a ponytail sat down and crossed her legs, looking impatient. I first showed her the standard version. She flipped through it and curled her lip. Isn't this just the same vibe as Tea Fairy next door? Change the name, and no one would recognize it as 2 different shops. I spread out the second version of the proposal. The main color is osmanthus yellow, accented with billuocan green and set against a background of lotus root purple. The handwritten brand name, Yijian Chan, carries a somewhat antique charm in its strokes. She froze for a moment. Picked it up and looked at it for a few seconds. Who made this? I did, I said. Why use this color? The milk tea market is flooded with trendy styles, and consumers are tired of seeing the same thing. Using Chinese colors for differentiation makes you stand out from the rest at first glance. She looked at it for a few more seconds, then put it down. Not bad. But I have a question. Go ahead. How many full brand campaigns have you worked on? This is the first one. She snorted and stood up. The design is good, but I'm not comfortable leaving it to a rookie like you. She picked up her bag. I'll think about it some more. Left. President Tao walked over from the side, his expression not looking too good. What happened? We were almost there just now. The client thinks I lack experience. Then just exaggerate, he said in a hushed voice. If she asks how many full projects you've handled, just say 3 or 5. Who's going to check anyway? I don't want to deceive anyone. Director Tao glared at me, seemed about to say something, but ultimately just sighed and turned away. In the afternoon, I sat alone at my workstation, staring blankly at that proposal. When the client says, "Let me think about it," it's basically a polite rejection. A 3,000 yuan order isn't exactly a huge sum. But that design, I put my heart into it. It wasn't just to get it done, nor to cater to the outdated tastes of some old-fashioned boss. It was genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, something I found beautiful. I haven't felt this way in a long time. Lu Qing treated me to some barbecue. Said it was to cheer me up. At a roadside barbecue stall, where beer costs 2 yuan a bottle. Don't overthink it. He took a bite of the grilled eggplant. That's how it is in this line of work, 9 out of 10 proposals get rejected. It's normal. I know. Then why are you still brooding? I'm not brooding. Your face is screaming I'm not happy. I took a sip of beer and didn't respond. My phone rang. It was President Tao. Shaolin, I've got something to tell you. What is it? That customer from the milk tea shop just called again. I tightened my grip on the phone. She said she wants the proposal, but there's a condition. What condition? She said she wants to talk to you alone once. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., at a tea house by West Lake. Director Tao paused. Xiaolin, I've looked into this client. She doesn't just run a milk tea shop, she also owns a catering chain company. If you can keep her happy. He didn't finish the sentence. But the meaning was clear. After hanging up the phone, Lu Qing leaned in. What's up? Look at your face. The client asked for the proposal. Isn't that good? You were just looking down earlier. I put down my phone. It's pretty good. Yes. But for some reason, I can't seem to feel happy. An image suddenly popped into my mind again. Last winter, Jian Wan accompanied me to an interview at an advertising company. I didn't pass the interview, and it was raining when I came out. She was waiting downstairs with an umbrella, and just by looking at my face, she knew the outcome. Without saying a word, she took my hand and led me to a nearby noodle shop, where she ordered 2 bowls of beef noodles. While eating, she said, "It's okay, it's not like this is the only company." That bowl of noodles was very hot. But I remembered. I picked up the beer bottle and took a big swig. I pressed that image out of my mind. That was in the past. It has nothing to do with the present. The next afternoon, I went to the tea house by West Lake using the address Mr. Tao had given me. The location was nice. When you pushed open the door, you could see a corner of the lake. The owner of the milk tea shop has arrived. Her name is Songke. Sit. She pointed to the chair opposite and poured me a cup of tea. I didn't ask you here to discuss the proposal. What's that? I'd like to see your other works. I opened my laptop and pulled up everything I'd worked on over the past 2 years. Mall posters, promotional flyers, event key visuals. Mostly trivial jobs without much substance. Songke flipped through them one by one without any expression. When she reached the last few, she stopped. Those were a set of personal exercises I did at my previous company, never used in any commercial projects. It was a brand visual for a fictional independent bookstore, with a quiet and restrained overall tone, using colors like smoky blue and warm apricot. I just did it for fun at the time, never showed it to anyone. What is this? Practice. Nobody uses it. Why not release it? It's not a commercial project, so releasing it would be pointless. She closed her laptop and leaned back in her chair. Do you know why I looked at so many design firms and ended up choosing your proposal? No. Because what the others gave me, I could find something similar just by searching online. Yours was different. She took a sip of tea. You have an aesthetic sense, but you don't realize how much that's worth. I didn't speak. Running a milk tea shop is just part of my business. My own company also does catering brand incubation. Recently, we're preparing a new project and need a young designer to follow through the entire process. She paused. Are you interested? What do you mean? Leave your current company and come work for me. Your base salary will double, plus project bonuses. I was stunned. You don't have to answer now. She handed me her business card. Call me when you've made up your mind. Leaving the tea house, the sky had already darkened. I stood by the lake, watching the lights on the opposite shore flicker on one by one. Base salary doubled. Working at a small company, earning $4,000 a month, I have no idea when I'll ever get ahead. But I had no idea what was going on with Songka's side. What if it's unreliable? I took out my phone, wanting to call someone to discuss it. I went through my contacts, and apart from Lu Qing and President Tao, there wasn't a single person I could talk to about this kind of thing. In the past, when I was unsure about something, I would call Jiangwan. Though she didn't understand design, she would say, if you think it's good, just go for it. Worst case, you can always find another way. Simple, direct, but it always put my mind at ease. I put away my phone. Gone. That phone call, it won't happen again. When I got back to the dorm, my phone rang again. I thought it was Songka. Looking down. No. It's a text message. From a number I don't have saved. Old man, I'm in Hangzhou now. I'm standing downstairs at your company. No signature on the text message. But I know who it is. Because a second message followed right after. Come out. I'm not leaving. If you won't see me, I'll just stand here forever. Clutching my phone, I stood motionless in the dormitory hallway. Outside, the sky had turned completely dark. By late October in Hangzhou, the nights carried a distinct chill. Is she downstairs at the office? It's a 20-minute walk from there to here. I stood for a long time. Then I pushed open the dormitory door and changed into a pair of shoes. Lu Qing was lying in bed scrolling through videos when he saw me about to go out again, lifting his head slightly. What are you going out for? Just heading out for a bit. So late? I didn't answer, pulled the door shut, and left. I walked quickly the whole way. Through the neighborhood, through the narrow alley lined with barbecue stalls, and past two intersections was the office building. From a distance, I could see it. Under the streetlight at the office building entrance, a person stood. A woman, very thin, noticeably thinner than remembered. Wearing a light jacket, standing in the wind, her hair blown into disarray. She saw me. He swayed slightly, as if about to rush over, but then forced himself to stop. I walked over. I stopped 3 steps away from her. The street lamp cast our shadows on the ground, separated by a clear line. She opened her mouth. Lin Bei. The voice was soft, trembling. I've been looking for you for 3 months. I looked at her. She had lost so much weight since 3 months ago, her chin was sharp, her cheekbones protruded, and there were deep dark circles under her eyes. She was clutching something in her hand. I looked down. It's that gift box with the silver ribbon. The one I left on the coffee table in the private room. She's been carrying it with her. How did you find this place? I called your former company's HR department, and they said you had resigned and didn't know where you went. I then reached out to your classmates, your old colleagues, your landlord. As she spoke, her voice grew hoarse. Finally, it was Jun. He somehow found out the location of your new phone number's registration and traced it to Hangzhou. So I came here. I went from one advertising agency to another asking. You shouldn't have come. I know. She lowered her head, looking at the gift box in her hands. But if I don't come, I won't be able to live with myself. The wind blew, and the zipper on her coat was undone, swaying in the breeze. Lin Bei, I'm not here today to ask you to get back together. I just wanted to tell you in person. She looked up. I'm sorry. What happened that night was my fault. Whether it was 1 second or 10, whether it was your face or your lips, it was all my fault. I shouldn't have done that. I have no right to say it was just a joke, because your feelings are not a joke. I've thought a lot these past 3 months, trying to figure out where things went wrong. Not just that night. For a long time before that, I overlooked many things. The matter with Hee-jun. She paused for a moment. He confessed to me. A month ago. After you left. My body didn't move, but something in my mind clicked. He said he's liked me for a long time. Said that day in the private room, the teasing was just to see how you'd react. She bit her lower lip. I cursed him out. Cut off all contact with him. But none of that matters now, because the mistake has already been made. Lin Bei, I'm not here to bring up the past. I just wanted you to know. She pushed the gift box forward. This, you left it behind that day. I don't know what's inside, so I haven't opened it. You can take it back. I looked at the box. Inside was a scarf. Silver gray, she had mentioned many times that she wanted a nice gray scarf. I picked one out online 2 months in advance, waiting to give it to her on her birthday. Now it's already the end of October. Scarf season is almost here. I don't want it anymore, I said. You keep it. She paused for a moment. Her hand didn't withdraw. It just stayed there, held up. The wind blew again. The streetlight buzzed and flickered twice, its light becoming unsteady. In that moment of alternating light and shadow, I saw her shoulders trembling. Not from the cold. She was crying. Without a sound, tears streamed down her face, drop by drop, splashing onto the satin ribbon of the gift box. I stood there. 3 steps away. 3 months ago, also at night, I stood at the door of that private room, the same distance between us. At that time, I turned and left. And now? She wiped her face and held the gift box to her chest. Then she said a sentence. Lin Bei. No matter where you go, what you do, or how you're doing in the future. I will never bother you again. After saying this, she turned and left. No clinging, no grabbing my arm begging me to come back. She just left like that. Her silhouette was so thin it seemed it could break with a gust of wind. I stood there, watching her disappear around the corner. My hands were empty. But a thought suddenly emerged, very clear. She had said sorry. And it's been made clear. Hee-jun had confessed to her. The teasing in the private room that day was intentional on Hee-jun's part. Those ambiguous posts I saw on his Weibo before weren't just me overthinking it. That person never had good intentions from the start. But Jianwan rejected him. Cursed him. Cut off contact. Then came alone to Hangzhou to find me. But is this enough? When I returned to the dormitory, Lu Qing was already asleep. I sat by the bed, staring at the exterior wall outside the window that seemed almost pressed against my face. Whether it's enough or not isn't something I can figure out tonight. But there's one thing I figured out. The next morning, I called Song-ke. I've made up my mind. When do we start? There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the line. Next Monday, Song-ke said. Finish handing over your current tasks. I hung up the phone and went to see President Tao to resign. After hearing this, President Tao's expression turned very unpleasant. You're jumping ship after less than a month here? Sorry, President Tao. How much did that woman offer? Double the base salary. He glared at me, wanting to scold but held back. Finally, he waved his hand. Go on, go on. Once your wings are strong, no one can keep you. As I walked out of his office, he called out from behind. Shaolin. I turned back. Your plan for the milk tea shop is really well done. This was the first time he gave me positive feedback on my design. And also the last. Lu Qing helped me pack my things, muttering under his breath. You're lucky, leaving after just over 20 days. I've been working for 3 months and still making flyers. If you want to leave, I can ask Song-ke for you. Forget it. I don't have your skills. He handed me my pillow. But seriously, that proposal of yours is really impressive. Thanks. I carried my suitcase downstairs. After exiting the residential complex, the breakfast stall auntie was setting up her stand. Young man, moving out? Change jobs. That's a good thing. She smiled and handed me a cup of soy milk. A gift for you. Come by often. I took the soy milk and said thank you. As I walked away with my suitcase, I glanced back at the old building. On the 6th floor, the window by the wall was now closed. Stayed for less than a month. But I remember every sleepless night. Keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. Song-ke's company is called Ifan Catering, located in an entrepreneurial park on the west side of the city. It's not large, with only 7 people in total, including her. But it's completely different from Yuanqing advertising. Here, everyone knows what they're doing, and no one is just going through the motions. The first project Songke gave me was to develop a complete brand implementation for a spring light. Not just brochures and posters, but also the visual system for the store space, packaging, merchandise, and online pages. You have 1 month, she said. Do it well, and you'll be in charge of all future visuals for this brand. 1 month. I hardly ever left my computer. I worked on it during the day at the company and continued at night in the dormitory. Songke arranged a single dormitory for me. Although it was very small, I finally didn't have to share a room with 3 others. During that period, I slept only 4 or 5 hours a day. I often forget to eat, and sometimes Songke would drop a takeout box on my desk without a word and leave. On the day the first new image store of A Spring opened, I stood across the street watching. The storefront was osmanthus yellow, the signage was billiot green, and the paper cups were lotus purple. A passing girl stopped to take a photo and posted it online. Songke stood beside me, arms crossed. How is it? Not bad. Speak properly. I think it looks quite nice. It's not what you think, it's what the consumers think. She took out her phone and showed me the back-end data. In the first 3 hours of opening, over 100 orders were placed on the mini program. That's 3 times more than the previous store during the same period. I didn't say anything. But at that moment, a corner of my heart that had always felt empty seemed to be filled just a little. Not much. But enough. After completing the A Spring Light project, Songke started giving me more work. A new cha-chanteng brand, a visual upgrade for a neighborhood bakery, and an upcoming Japanese restaurant chain. I bury myself in various plans every day, and sometimes when I look up, I realize it's already dark outside. This kind of busyness is good. When I'm busy, I don't think about other things. I won't think about that woman standing under the streetlight, who has lost so much weight. I won't think about the words she said. I won't bother you anymore. I won't think about that gift box with the silver ribbon. One night, I was working overtime at the office, and everyone had left. After finishing a draft of the proposal, I leaned back in my chair and stared blankly. The phone on the table lit up. Lu Qing. Lin Bei, I saw a post on Moments, someone you used to know. He sent a screenshot. It's Heejun's social media post. The accompanying photo is a group picture. Heejun and a girl are in some bar, standing very close to each other. The girl isn't Jianwan. The caption reads, "A new beginning." I watched for a few seconds. Okay. The one who always insisted they were just friends, with Jianwan, the one who drunkenly egged her on to kiss someone, the one who confessed behind her back. A fresh start. That's great. I closed the chat interface and continued working on the proposal. 3 months later. The third store of A Spring opened, this time in a prime location at the heart of the commercial center. Songke invited a local food blogger to visit the shop. The blogger made a short video titled, "The Most Aesthetic Milk Tea Shop in Hangzhou." The video prominently showcased the store's design. The blogger said to the camera, "Look at this color scheme, it's completely different from those flashy ones outside. So sophisticated." The day after the video was posted, it surpassed 500,000 views. On the third day, someone asked in the comments, "Which company designed this brand?" Songke sent me a screenshot of this comment. "You've gone viral." "The brand has gone viral, not me." Same thing. She tossed me a business card. "This is the owner of Mountain Corner Coffee. After seeing that video, he wants to hire you for their brand upgrade. You can discuss it with him yourself." "I'm supposed to negotiate?" "You're a designer, not mute. Present your own work." I held the business card and stared at it for a long time. Back when I was at Yuanqing Advertising, all client communications were handled by Director Tao. I was only responsible for focusing on creating designs, making revisions back and forth. No one ever let me handle negotiations myself. The owner of Shanyu Coffee is named Su Jing, in his mid-30s, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, appearing much more refined than previous clients. We arranged to meet at his coffee shop. The shop isn't large, but it's tastefully decorated. Wooden tables and chairs, concrete walls, and a floor-to-ceiling window. "So you're the designer behind A Spring Lantern?" He gave me a once-over, Younger than I imagined. 25. Were you at a big company before? Or an independent studio? Neither. I used to work at a very small advertising company, designing flyers and brochures. He raised an eyebrow. Then how was the visual system for a spring created? I came up with it, I said. He smiled. All right, I like people who speak the truth. He pushed a document forward. Shanyu currently has 6 stores and plans to expand to 15 next year. The brand image needs a complete upgrade, from the logo to the space and all touchpoints. You name the budget. I name it? You're the designer. You set the price for your work. I thought about it. 50,000. He didn't bargain. When do we start? Next week. Stepping out of the coffee shop, I stood by the roadside and called Songke. 50,000 is done. There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the line. I thought you'd say 30,000. So did I. Getting better. She hung up the phone. I stood there and suddenly smiled. After 4 months in Hangzhou, this was the first time I felt this way. It wasn't happiness, nor excitement. It was the solid feeling of standing on firm ground. I can do this well. Not because the clients are easy to fool, not because the price is cheap. It's because what I make is genuinely recognized. The Shanyu Coffee project took a month and a half. During that time, I visited almost all the famous coffee shops in Hangzhou, took hundreds of photos, and drank dozens of cups of coffee. By the end, the mere smell of coffee made me nauseous. On the day the final proposal was presented, Su Jing brought his partner along to see it. The partner was a woman, surnamed Lu, named Lu Tingyu. She had short hair, wore a simple black knit sweater, and was very quiet. I laid out the plan, explaining from the brand philosophy to the visual system and then to the spatial application, speaking for nearly 40 minutes. After I finished, Su Jing looked at Lu Tingyu. What do you think? She had been silent until now, only then did she speak. Page 3, the section on spatial color. I turned to that page. You used a muted ink green as the primary color. Why not deep brown or black walnut? Most coffee brands opt for warm tones. Because Shanyu isn't positioned as a traditional cafe, I said. Your target audience is younger, more artsy. Warm brown would make it look like every other coffee shop on the street. Ink green paired with natural wood creates an immediate visual impression. She looked at the proposal without speaking. A few seconds passed. Page 7, the font. You used a serif typeface, but the logo section uses sans serif. Why mix them? The logo needs to be clean and recognizable at small sizes. The body text uses serif to maintain a sense of quality. The principle behind pairing them is recognition from afar, refinement up close. She was silent for a few more seconds. Then she nodded. Okay. Just 2 words. But Su Jing laughed, and it was a very obvious laugh. If Lu Tingyu says it's possible, then it really is possible, he said, looking at me. She studied visual communication at the Academy of Fine Arts for 4 years, her eye is much sharper than mine. After the proposal was approved, I began overseeing the implementation of Mountain Nook. The first renovated store opened near the Southern Song Imperial Street, in a prime location. On the opening day, there was a long queue. Someone posted on social media. Hangzhou has another coffee shop worth taking photos of. The accompanying image was of that dark green feature wall, along with the brand logo I designed. That evening, the phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, may I speak to Mr. Linbei? This is he. We are from the investment department of the Shiguangli Cultural and Creative Park. Currently, we are preparing for an overall brand image upgrade of the park and came across the design case of Shanyu Coffee. We'd like to explore potential collaboration opportunities. I was taken aback for a moment. How did you find me? Su Jing, President Su, recommended you. After hanging up the phone, I sent a message to Su Jing. Thanks. He replied quickly. Your stuff is good, recommending it was just a small favor. But the Shiguangli project is quite substantial, you might not be able to handle it alone. I stared at the message. He was right. One person really couldn't finish it all. That night I lay in bed, thinking for a long time. It's been almost half a year since I came to Hangzhou. From a small company employee earning 4,000 a month to now having landed 2 decent projects, with people starting to approach me proactively. The speed feels somewhat unreal. But I know it's not luck. It was honed stroke by stroke during those nights working overtime until 2 or 3 in the morning. The phone screen lit up. Lu Qing. Lin Bei, let me tell you some gossip. Go on. Boss Tao drank too much today and told me he regrets letting you go. He said if he had known you were so capable, he would have added $500 to keep you back then. I looked at this message and didn't reply. $500. That's the price he thinks I'm worth. I took on the Shiguangli Cultural and Creative Park project, gritting my teeth. When Song Ke found out, she leaned back in her chair in her office and looked at me for a long time. Are you sure about this? This job will take 4 months, and you won't be able to handle it alone. That's why I want to hire an assistant. What identity are you recruiting under? You're still a designer at my company. I fell silent. She had hit the nail on the head. If you want to take outside jobs, you'll have to register your own studio. Song Ke stood up and walked to the window. To be honest, I've always known you'd leave eventually. You're not cut out to be an employee. President Song. Don't call me President Song. She turned around. Let me ask you a question. If you were to do it on your own, do you think you could survive? Yes. On what basis? With what I have in hand. She looked at me for a few seconds. Fine, she said. You go independent, and I'll still outsource the follow-up designs for a spring light to you. That's the best I can do for you. Thanks. Don't mention it. If you mess up, it's my reputation on the line. I rented a small 15-square-meter space in the west of the city and registered my studio. I thought long and hard about the name, and finally settled on Plain White Design. I hired an assistant, a girl named Ding Ran who just graduated from art school. She doesn't talk much, but she's reliable and hardworking. The Shiguangli project is progressing very smoothly. There are over 20 tenants in the park, ranging from independent designer brands to handcraft workshops and small galleries, with a wide variety of styles. My task is to unify these diverse elements under a single brand framework while preserving the individuality of each one. Working on such a project requires extensive communication and coordination. In the past, I would most likely have messed it up. But during my time at Yuanqing Advertising and Yifeng Catering, I learned one thing: listen to what the other person has to say first, then decide how to act. Don't interrupt, don't rush to express yourself, don't jump to conclusions. This ability, ironically enough, is quite something to talk about. Wasn't it because I didn't listen to Jiangwan when we were together that things ended up like this? Forget it. I don't want to think about it anymore. On the day before the opening of Shiguangli, all the merchants came for the final inspection. I checked each item one by one to confirm whether the materials had arrived and whether the signs were installed correctly. I was busy until 8 in the evening. Everyone had left, and only Ding Ran and I remained in the park. Mr. Lin, the light box on that directional sign at the entrance seems a bit off. Ding Ran pointed towards the entrance. I'll go take a look. I walked to the door, crouched down to check the angle of the light box. While adjusting it, I heard footsteps behind me. Lin Bei? A woman's voice. It's not Ding Ran. I straightened up and turned around. A person was standing under the streetlight. Short hair, black knit sweater. Lu Tingyu. Why are you here? I live nearby. I saw the lights on while passing by and wanted to come in and take a look. She glanced around the park. Opening tomorrow? Yes. Nervous? A little. She walked into the park, strolling slowly along the main path, looking at each place one by one. I followed behind, saying nothing. She stopped at the innermost handmade paper craft workshop. The signage here is well done. What's good about it? It matches the vibe of this shop perfectly. Quiet, unassuming, but unforgettable once you see it. She gazed at the sign. Just like you. I froze for a moment. She turned around. Let's add each other on WeChat. What? Add me on WeChat. In the future, when it comes to Shanyu matters, if Su Jing finds it inconvenient to coordinate, I'll reach out to you. Oh. Okay. I took out my phone and scanned her QR code. Her WeChat profile picture was a blank canvas. Nothing was drawn. On the opening day of the Shiguangli Cultural and Creative Park, many people came. The park invited several local media outlets and some bloggers to take photos and explore the shops. I stood in the corner, watching people come and go. Mr. Lin, someone is looking for you. Ding Ran came over to say. Who? A Mr. Su said he's from some design association. I walked over. The man appeared to be in his early 40s, wearing black framed glasses and dressed very formally. Hello, Mr. Lin Bei. I'm Su Ming, Secretary General of the Hangzhou Young Designers Association, he said, handing over a business card. We've noticed your recent projects and came specifically to take a look today. Thank you. He walked around the campus, taking numerous photos with his phone. After returning, he sat on a bench and said something to me. Are you interested in participating in this year's Westlake Design Award? What award? The most influential youth design competition in Hangzhou. Commercial space category. Both your Shiguangli and Shanyu Coffee are eligible to enter. I didn't say anything. If you win, the industry will know about you. This is very important for a studio that's just starting out. Back at the studio, I told Songke about this. She said directly over the phone. Sign up. Is it useful? How do you think those people who come to you for projects get here? One is word of mouth, the other is exposure. You already have word of mouth, but you're still one step away from exposure. What if I don't get selected? Then try again next year. What are you afraid of? I thought about it. What is there to fear? When I came to Hangzhou, all I had was a little over 2,000 yuan and a suitcase. I didn't even have the right to be afraid. Alright, I'll sign up. The selection for the Westlake Design Award will take place in 2 months. During these 2 months, I worked on the project at hand while preparing the competition materials. I organized the 3 projects: A Touch of Spring Mountain Corner Cafe and Time Lane, into complete case studies detailing every step from preliminary research to design concepts and final presentation, making sure each stage was clearly documented. Ding Ran helped me with the typesetting, working overtime until dawn. On the day of the submission deadline, I sat in front of the computer all night, repeatedly checking every page. Finally clicked. Submit. Leaned back in the chair, staring at the ceiling. The phone rang. Lu Tingyu. Submitted it? How did you know? Su Jing said. Yeah, just handed it in. Nervous? To say I'm not nervous would be a lie. She fell silent for a moment. There's something I've never told you. What? When you're designing, you're in a great state. Very focused, very certain. But when you're not designing, there's always a sense of emptiness. I held my phone, not responding. I'm not prying into your personal matters, she said. I just feel that you deserve a better state. Thank you. Keep it up. He hung up the phone. I sat in the studio as dawn approached, the sky outside the window slowly shifting from deep blue to pale gray. She was right. Empty. In the half year since coming to Hangzhou, work has filled most of my time, but in the quiet of the night, that emptiness still surfaces. Like an emptied house, the echoes are loud. The day the selection results were announced was a Friday afternoon. I was in the studio revising a proposal when my phone rang. Su Ming. Lin Bei, congratulations. What? A Touch of Spring and Time Capsule both made it to the final round. A Touch of Spring won the Silver Award in the Commercial Space category. I froze there. The award ceremony is next Saturday at the Westlake Expo Center. Get ready, you'll need to go on stage to accept the award and give a speech. After hanging up, I sat there motionless. Ding Ran noticed my expression and asked, President Lin? What's wrong? Got an award. What award? Westlake Design Award. Silver Prize. Ding Ran let out an ah, then jumped up. Really? Isn't that incredibly impressive? My classmate said the Gold Award last year went to a well-established studio with over a decade of experience. Watching her excitement, I suddenly smiled. It's been 8 months since I came to Hangzhou. From a small advertising company with a monthly salary of 4,000 yuan, to my own studio, to winning an award. I didn't tell anyone I used to know. Not that I didn't want to. It's just that those people's numbers had long been deleted from my phone. On the day of the award ceremony, I wore a newly bought shirt. Standing on the stage, there were over 300 people seated below. The lights shone brightly on my face. The host read out the list of winners and the award speech, and I walked up to receive the trophy. Please say a few words, winner. I stood in front of the microphone. Hundreds of eyes in the audience were fixed on me. My name is Lin Bei, and I've been in design for less than 3 years. When I came to Hangzhou a year ago, I had 2,000 yuan to my name and stayed in a 50 yuan a night youth hostel. The audience fell silent. Back then, I had nothing. No works, no connections, no fame. All I had was a single thought: what I create should be beautiful. Not the kind of beauty dictated by clients, but true beauty. Thank you to Song Ke, the CEO of Yijian Chun, for giving me my first opportunity to seriously pursue design. Thank you to Su Jing, the CEO of Shanyu Coffee, and Lu Tingyu, the CEO of Shanyu Coffee, for making me believe that good design can be seen and appreciated. I accept this award. But I know this is just the beginning. I bowed and walked off the stage. When I got back to my seat, my phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a message from Song Ke. I saw it on the live stream. You watch live streams? I watched your live stream. Then added another sentence. Not bad. But don't get cocky. I replied with a, got it. Putting the phone in my pocket, a new message popped up. Unknown number. Lin Bei, I saw that you won the award. Congratulations. No signature. But after reading it 3 times, I deleted that message. Some people, you know who they are even without a signature. After winning the award, more clients started coming to me. Most of them are small commercial brands, like tea drinks, light meals, and lifestyle-related ones. I take them one by one and do them one by one. Ding Ran couldn't handle the workload alone, so I hired another person named Zhou Nan, who had previously worked at an advertising agency for 3 years. The studio moved from 15 square meters to 40 square meters. The days were so busy that my feet barely touched the ground. But one night, something happened. That day, I attended a small industry gathering at a restaurant in the west of the city. The attendees were all local designers and brand professionals from Hangzhou, about 10 or so, seated around a long table. I arrived late and found a corner seat to sit down. Half the dishes had been served, and the people at the table were chatting about recent projects. I heard you design Shiguangli? A man in a gray suit across from me looked at me. Yes. Not bad. But I heard you used to work at a small company that made flyers? Several people at the table laughed. Not a malicious laugh, but one carrying a sense of superiority that said, I knew it. The man in the gray suit, named Fan Yu, runs a mid-sized design company in Hangzhou. Having been in the business for nearly a decade, he's somewhat well known in the industry. Flyers are designed too, I said. That may be so. Fan Yu picked up a bite of food. But for someone who started out designing flyers to win the Westlake Award in less than 3 years after entering the industry. To be honest, there are some murmurs in the circle. What murmurs? Some say you're the judge's favorite. The table fell silent for 2 seconds. I put down my chopsticks. Who said that? I didn't say it was me. Fan Yu smiled. Just a reminder, the circle is small, reputation is important. If you've won the award, you've won it, don't be too high profile. I looked at him. Mr. Fan, the judging process for that award is anonymous voting, and the work numbers don't carry personal information. If you have any concerns, you can directly contact the organizing committee. I didn't say there was a problem. He raised his glass. Just making casual conversation. Come on, have a drink. I didn't clink glasses. I stood up. I have something to do today, so I'm leaving first. As I walked out of the restaurant, Fan Yu's voice came from behind. Through the glass door, it wasn't very clear, but I faintly heard the words. Young people have such tempers. I walked down the street, hands in my pockets. Nepotism. If this kind of talk spreads, all the reputation I built up will be ruined. Back at the studio, I gave Su Ming a call. Secretary General Su, someone is saying I won the award through connections. He was silent on the other end of the line for a moment. I know. Everyone in the circle is well aware of Fan Yu's character. He entered the Westlake Award this year but didn't even pass the preliminary review. He's just bitter about it. What should we do then? The best way is to shut him up with our next project. After hanging up, I sat at my workstation, staring at the computer screen. Gag. Fine. Then let's make something that shuts everyone up. During that time, Fan Yu's words had a greater impact on me than I thought. 2 clients who had already agreed suddenly said, We'll think about it again. And then there was no follow-up. Ding Ran was so angry that he paced around the studio. What connections? How dare he say that? His own work is garbage, and he has the nerve to criticize others? Stop complaining, it's useless. What should we do? Just wait. Make things, I said. Do the work at hand well. The rest is beyond our control. Though I spoke calmly, when I returned to the dormitory that night, I still tossed and turned, unable to sleep. It's been almost a year since I came to Hangzhou. Just when you've barely managed to gain a foothold, someone tries to pull you down. The phone screen lights up. Looting you. I heard. I know that Fang Yu. How did you know? The circle is just that small. She paused. You don't need to pay him any attention. People like him rely on seniority and connections. What they fear most is someone succeeding without those things. I understand the principle, but the client left. If they left, then let them go. Clients who truly value you wouldn't walk away over a casual remark. I didn't say anything. There's something next week you might be interested in, she said. Shan Yu is hosting a small tasting event in Hangzhou, and Su Jing plans to invite some people from the catering and retail industries. They need a brand display area at the event, and you'll design it. Is this giving me work, or just having me there for show? A bit of both. She spoke very directly, without beating around the bush. Didn't you say you wanted to create something that would silence everyone? Then start with this. I was taken aback for a moment. How did you know I said that? Ding Ran told me. That kid can't keep a secret. I couldn't help but laugh. All right, I'll do it. The Shan Yu tasting event was relatively small, held in a banquet hall of a boutique hotel with about 60 to 70 attendees. But the attendees were all local restaurant and retail owners from Hangzhou, each with considerable influence. I created a brand display wall, turning the visual evolution of Shan Yu, from its founding to the present, into a timeline. No frills, no flashy techniques, just presenting the good stuff as it is. Halfway through the tasting event, someone arrived. Fang Yu. He stood in front of the display wall for a long time, holding a glass of wine. I saw him, and he saw me too. He walked over. Shaolin, I might have been a bit harsh last time we spoke, don't take it to heart. I looked at him. President Fang, you're too kind. I've been there too, I know it's not easy for young people. He patted my shoulder, his tone warming up. If you ever need help with anything in the future, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you. He walked away with a smile. Ding Ran leaned in and whispered, Is he here to back down? It's not backing down, I said. He realized that bad-mouthing me was useless, so he switched to a different approach. What method? Winning them over. Ding Ran fell silent. After the tasting event, 3 new clients proactively added me on WeChat. One of them was a chain bookstore project, larger in scale than all previous projects. That night, back at the studio, I wrote a line on the whiteboard. Susu Design Year 1. Below it, I listed all completed projects, and those currently under discussion. Counted them up. It's been exactly 1 year in Hangzhou, starting from scratch, completed 11 projects, and won 1 award. The studio grew from 1 person to 3. The number on the bank card went from 2,000 to 6 digits. I stood in front of the whiteboard for a long time. Then I picked up the pen and wrote the second line below the first. Second year, make them remember. The bookstore project was a turning point. The client is called Half Acre Study, founded by a man surnamed Ji, named Ji Yuanzhou. In his early 40s, he has run an independent bookstore for 12 years and owns 4 stores in Hangzhou. His request was unlike any previous clients. I don't want you to make it look good, he said, sitting in the reading area of his own bookstore, a cup of cooled tea by his hand. I want you to make it right. What does right mean? The space and visual of a bookstore should make people quiet down as soon as they walk in. Not because of high-end decoration, but because every detail tells you, this is a place for books, not for checking in. After hearing this, I didn't respond immediately. I thought about it for 3 days after returning. Then I discarded the first version of my plan. It's so beautiful. So designed. What Ji Yuanzhou wanted wasn't beauty, but appropriateness. I've redone a version. The color palette is minimized, using only beige and natural wood tones. The logo is made very small, unobtrusive. The most eye-catching element in the space isn't any design feature, but the books on the shelves. When I showed the proposal to Ji Yuanzhou, he remained silent for a long time. The fact that you understand this shows you're not just doing design, He stood up and walked to the window. Lin Bei, I have an idea. Go ahead. There's a Youth Business Innovation Forum in Hangzhou, held once a year at the end of the year. This year's theme is how small and beautiful brands survive. They're looking for speakers. You want me to go? I've already recommended you. But I've only been in the industry 2 years, he said. What you've created in 2 years shows more sincerity than what some people produce in a decade. This isn't just flattery. I was momentarily stunned. A good number of people came to that forum, media, investors, and peers alike. He turned around. Go share your story. How you went from making flyers to winning awards. I'm not very good at telling stories. Then tell the facts. Facts are more powerful than stories. The Youth Business Innovation Forum is held at the end of the year, at a conference center by Westlake. I was scheduled to speak in the sharing session on the afternoon of the second day. I was nervous for an entire week before going. I wrote 3 versions of the speech, but scrapped them all. Finally decided to go without a script and just wing it. When I arrived, the scale was larger than I had imagined. The main venue was filled with nearly 500 people. While sitting offstage waiting to go on, I glanced at the audience. Then I froze completely. In the 7th row, near the aisle, sat a person. Fan Yu. He saw me too. From a distance, he raised a mineral water bottle in his hand toward me as a greeting. Sitting next to him were 4 or 5 people from his company, occupying half a row. I understood in that instant. He didn't come to learn, he came to watch me make a fool of myself. A guy who started out handing out flyers, with less than 3 years in the industry, standing in front of 500 people to talk about brand design? If I messed up, all those rumors about me being a Nepo hire would be confirmed. Ding Ran sent me a message from the audience. Fan Yu is here, with a group of people. I replied with 2 words. Understood. Then I turned off my phone. When I stepped onto the stage, the spotlight shone down, and the audience below was a sea of dark figures. I stood before the microphone and paused for 3 seconds. Whispers began to ripple through the crowd. I began to speak. 2 years ago, I worked at a small advertising agency in Hangzhou with a monthly salary of 4,000. My boss told me, the client is God. If God says mud looks good, you have to agree. The audience laughed. Back then, I couldn't bear to look at my own work a second time. But I knew that wasn't the kind of design I wanted to create. Later, I got an opportunity to design a brand identity for a bubble tea shop. Instead of just giving the client what they asked for, I made it exactly how I believed it should look. That set of solutions was adopted by the client. Then came the second project, the third, and the fourth. Last year, I won the Westlake Design Award. Some people said I got it through connections. The audience fell silent. I glanced at the 7th row. Fan Yu's expression looked somewhat unnatural. I'm not. I have no connections, no background, no mentor. What I do have is the work I've polished by staying up until 2 or 3 in the morning every day. Whether it's good or not, it's all out there for everyone to see. If anyone thinks I don't deserve it, it's simple, compare your work with mine. After I finished speaking, the audience fell silent for 2 seconds. Then applause erupted. It wasn't the polite, scattered kind of applause. It started from the back rows, then spread across the entire venue, growing louder and louder. I stood on the stage, looking at the audience below. Fan Yu sat there, not applauding. The person next to him glanced at him and hesitantly clapped a few times. After the sharing session ended, several people gathered around to exchange business cards with me. An investor working on a cultural tourism project directly asked me if I would take on the brand design for a scenic area. A media reporter also wanted to interview me. After dealing with them one by one, I ran into Fan Yu in the hallway. He stopped me. Kobayashi. Director Fong. He looked at me for a few seconds. Was that little speech just now meant for me? Speaking to everyone. He snorted. It's good for young people to have drive, but don't take yourself too seriously. I've been in this circle for 10 years, and you've only been here for 2. Some things can't be solved just by winning an award. Then how do you solve them? Rely on time. He turned and walked away, took 2 steps, then turned back. And also, rely on knowing the right people. He left. Ding Ran appeared from the side. What did he mean by that? Threatening you? It doesn't count, I said. He was telling me that the rules of this circle are set by him. So what did you do? I didn't follow his rules. 2 months after the forum sharing, things took an unexpected turn. First, that cultural tourism investor actually came knocking, bringing with him a brand project for scenic area renovation. The scale was massive, with a budget twice that of all previous projects combined. Then came the opening of the new half-acre study branch, where Ji Yuanzhou wrote an article on his public account specifically mentioning plain white design. The article spread widely. Within a week, 6 companies came asking for quotes. The studio hired 2 more people. Moved into a new 80 square meter space. I'm starting to get a bit overwhelmed. But what truly changed things was something else. That afternoon, I was revising a proposal in my studio when my phone rang. Lu Tingyu. Are you free? Let's grab a meal. Now? Now. Right at that noodle shop downstairs from your studio. I went downstairs, and she was already sitting there. 2 bowls of noodles were placed on the table, steaming hot. I ordered for you. Thanks. I sat down and picked up the chopsticks. She didn't move. There's something I want to tell you. Go ahead. I'm planning to split up with Sujing. My chopsticks froze in midair. Why? Different visions. He wanted to turn Shanyu into a chain of fast-moving consumer goods, while I aimed for a boutique approach. One prioritized scale, the other quality. We couldn't see eye to eye. So what will you do? I'll open my own place. She took a sip of water. Starting from scratch. Brand, space, products, everything will be rebuilt from the ground up. Compete with Shanyu? Not really competing. The market is big enough, we're doing different things. She looked at me. I want to hire you for brand design. What are the terms? Design fees will be paid at market rates. Additionally, you'll receive 3% equity in the brand. I put down my chopsticks. Why are you giving me shares? Because I don't want a designer who just takes orders and leaves. I want a partner who participates from the beginning and grows with the brand. I looked at her. What's your new brand called? Haven't decided yet. Help me think of one. I barely touched this bowl of noodles. My mind is completely occupied by this matter. 3% of the shares may not sound like much. But if the brand takes off. Back at the studio, I spent the whole night sketching and writing on the whiteboard. At 3 a.m, I finally settled on a name. The mountain stops. The mountain halts, the river flows. The mountain stops here, the water moves onward. Like her departure from mountain's edge, setting forth anew. The next day, I sent her the name. She replied with 2 words. This is it. The preparation for Mountain Stop took 3 months. From brand naming to logo design to spatial planning to product packaging, I was involved throughout the entire process. This was the first time I got involved from the very first step of a brand. Unlike previous projects where I received a ready-made brief and just executed it, this time I had to envision what a brand should look like, why it should be that way, and what would make it memorable. Exhausting. But exhilarating. The first Shanji store was chosen to be on Nanshan Road, not far from Westlake. The opening was scheduled for March. Lu Tingyu's idea was to do no promotion, relying on the products and space to naturally attract customers. Word of mouth is something that can't be rushed, she said. I agree. 1 week before the opening, something went wrong. That night, I was working overtime in the studio when my phone was suddenly flooded with messages from Ding Ran. President Lin, take a look at this. She sent a link. It was a self-media article, with the title, Silver Award designer Lin Bei's work suspected of plagiarism? I clicked on it. The article included several sets of comparison images, placing the visual system of One Spring side by side with the design of a Japanese tea beverage brand, highlighting areas labeled as highly similar. Color schemes, font choices, packaging structure. To be honest, there are indeed a few elements that look similar. But that Japanese brand uses a wabi-sabi style, while my One Spring employs traditional Chinese color palettes. The two are completely different in both concept and execution. Just a few awkwardly angled screenshots were taken and pieced together, making it look like something. The article ended with a thought-provoking line. Does last year's controversial Westlake Award selection need to be re-examined? I finished reading and exited the page. Opened the comments section. There are already hundreds of them. I always thought this person was shady, winning an award in just 2 years. Definitely something fishy. Another plagiarist. The domestic design scene is hopeless. LOL, isn't this just a rip-off of that Japanese one? There were also those who spoke up for me, but their voices were faint and quickly drowned out. Ding Ran called me. President Lin, what should we do? Should we issue a statement? Let's not rush it. Why aren't you in a hurry? The comment section is exploding. I know. First, help me look into something. What? Who is the author of that article? Ding Ran checked for half an hour before replying to me. The author's account is newly registered and has only posted this one article. But I checked the account's following list. The first one it followed is the official account of Fan Yu Design. I stared at this message. Fan Yu? It's still him. Last time, speaking face-to-face didn't work, so this time he's trying a more covert approach. Early the next morning, I received 2 phone calls. The first one was from Su Ming. I've read that article, buddy. The organizing committee is already verifying it, don't worry. Thank you, Secretary General Su. The second one is Song Ku's. I've seen it. What's your plan? I have an idea. Go on. Next week, Mountain Stop is opening, and Lu Dingyu originally didn't plan to do any promotion. But I want to change the plan. How? On the opening day, host a brand design exhibition. Publicly display the complete process of all projects since the establishment of Subai Design, from the initial sketches to the final products. This includes a spring lantern. You want to prove your innocence? Not to prove innocence. It's about letting everyone see with their own eyes how a design is created from scratch. Every stroke, every color choice, every revision, all laid out openly. Whether it's copied or not will be immediately obvious. Song Ke fell silent on the other end of the line for a few seconds. Okay. I'll be there. On the day Shanji opened, the weather was fine. In Hangzhou in early March, the air already carried the scent of spring. There were no flower baskets, no red carpet, and no firecrackers at the shop entrance. There is only one 3-meter-long display wall. It's covered with my design sketches from the past 2 years. From the rough exercises I did at Yuanxing Advertising, to the first draft of A Spring, the color experiments for Mountain Corner, the spatial exploration of Gathering Light, and the entire process of the birth of the Mountain Stop brand. Each sketch is annotated with a date, the reason for revisions, and reference sources. The reference source column is written in great detail. It specifies exactly which element references what material, with full citations. Next to the A Touch of Spring manuscript set, I added an extra paragraph. The color scheme is derived from 3 colors, osmanthus yellow, billiot green, and lotus root purple, from the traditional Chinese color chart book Color Spectrum. This book was published 9 years ago, predating the establishment of the Japanese brand mentioned in the article. The original manuscript is available for verification. Quite a few people came. In addition to regular customers, there were also many people from the industry. Ji Yuanzhou came. Su Ming came. Song Ke came. Several journalists from industry media also attended. They stood in front of the display wall for a long time. A journalist took out their phone and photographed every single manuscript. May I report on this? They asked. Go ahead, I said. How do you respond to the allegations of plagiarism in that article? It's here. I pointed at the wall. I have nothing to say. Just look. At 3 in the afternoon, Fan Yu arrived. I don't know who told him, or if he saw the news himself. He stood in front of the display wall, his expression gradually changing. From disdain, to astonishment, to embarrassment. Those manuscripts were too detailed. Every step was traceable, every element had its origin. There was simply no possibility of plagiarism. He finished reading and turned to leave. Mr. Fang. I called out to him. He stopped. That article, you had someone write it for you, didn't you? The surroundings fell silent. Everyone present turned to look in this direction. Fan Yu turned around, forcing a smile onto his face. What article? I don't know what you're talking about. That account followed your company's official page as its first action on the day it was registered. Would you like to explain that? The smile froze on his face. People nearby began whispering to each other. Lin Bei, watch your words. He lowered his voice. Do you have any evidence? Evidence? Didn't you say you wanted to compare works? I pointed to the display wall. The works are here. Where are yours? His lips moved, but no words came out. After standing for a few seconds, he turned and left, walking very fast. Ding Ran watched the entire process from the side and let out a long sigh. What did he say this time? He can't say anything anymore. That evening, 3 media outlets published reports about the opening of Mountain Stop and the design exhibition. One of the headlines read, "When Works Become Answers, 2 years of a young designer." The article showcased the sketches on the exhibition walls in detail, using comparison images to demonstrate the fundamental differences between the color system of a spring light and that of a Japanese brand. The sentiment in the comment section completely shifted. After seeing the original manuscript, where's the plagiarism? If some people are jealous, just say it outright. From starting with flyers to reaching this level, how can you have the nerve to accuse him of copying? I approached Fan Yu's company last year. Their quotes were outrageously expensive, and the results were hard to describe. The phone rang. Su Ming. Lin Bei, the organizing committee has completed the verification. There is no plagiarism. At the same time, we have also noticed the issue regarding the source of that article. The association will take appropriate action. Thank you. Hung up the phone. I sat at the counter of Mountain Stop, and there were no more customers in the shop. Lu Tingyu was wiping glasses across from me. You did well today. Not at all. I didn't get angry. Getting angry is useless. Would the old Jew have gotten angry? I thought about it. In the past, I probably would have just walked away from something like this. I wouldn't even have had the courage to turn back and say a word. She put down her cup and looked at me. People change. Yes. Got better. Still changing. After the incident with Fan Yu, the reputation of plain white design actually grew even more than before. Some say design firms are everywhere, but this is the only one bold enough to showcase all its original drafts. But I didn't have much time to enjoy this transformation, because new troubles arose. In the first month after Shanji opened, business was okay. In the second month, it suddenly plummeted. Lu Tingyu looked into the reason. A new coffee shop had opened on the next street over, with a style, positioning, and even menu structure very similar to Shanji. The shop was called Shanwai. The names differed by just one character. Guess who opened it? Lu Tingyu sat across from me, sliding over a screenshot of business registration information. I looked down at it. Legal representative, Su Jing. Her former business partner. Did he do it on purpose? Of course. Ever since I left Shanyu, he's been unhappy. But he didn't expect Shanji to perform better than anticipated, so he opened one right next to it to divert customers. That's just two. There's no room for sentiment in business, she said calmly. But he made one mistake. What mistake? He thought opening a similar shop could steal my customers. But he doesn't understand why people come to Shanji. Why? Because what's here is right. Not just good looking, but right. That feeling can't be copied. I looked at her. Suddenly, I remembered Ji Yuanzhou had said the exact same thing. Doing it right is more important than doing it beautifully. Shanji did not take any countermeasures. No price cuts, no promotions, no social media spats. Lu Tingyu did just one thing, reduce the product line by a third, perfecting every remaining item to the extreme. 2 months later, Shanwai was the first to buckle under the pressure. Because its core was just one thing, being like Shanji. But similar is not a competitive edge. Customers might think it's about the same on their first visit, but upon returning, they'd notice it falls short in every aspect. Half a year later, Shanwai closed down. Su Jing never showed up. But he did something else. He completely revamped the brand visuals for Mountain Nook Coffee. They were replaced with the design proposal from Fan Yu Company. When I heard this news, I was working on the design for the second new location of Half Acre Study. Message from Lu Qing. Did you know? Shan Yu has completely replaced the set you made. He saw the new version of Shan Yu in a shopping mall. He took a photo and sent it to me. I saw it. The entire color scheme has been changed to deep brown, the font has been altered, and the logo has been updated too. Fan Yu's style, very obvious. That kind of safe, steady approach, nothing wrong, but nothing outstanding either. Can't say it's ugly, but it's just unremarkable. The dark green paired with natural wood that used to be instantly recognizable at Shanyu is completely gone now. I stared for a few seconds, then put down my phone. President Lin? Ding Ran noticed my silence. It's nothing. The design for Shanyu was changed, aren't you angry? That's Su Zheng's shop. He can change whoever he wants. But that was your work. Once it's delivered, it's no longer mine. I continued to revise the proposal. But that night, saying I didn't care would be a lie. Mountain Corner Coffee was the second official project I worked on after coming to Hangzhou, the project that made me visible. In a way, Su Jing replacing it was erasing my existence. Lu Tingyu called. Did you find out? I found out. Does it hurt? Just a little. Normal, she said. But think about it, if Shan Yu does better after switching to Fan Yu's plan, how should you feel? That would mean Fan Yu did better than me. What if the business gets worse? That means I did the right thing. So no matter the outcome, you don't need to care. What you should care about is the work in your hands, not how others handle your past work. I was silent for a few seconds. Why do you always talk like you're giving a lecture? Occupational disease. I laughed. Thanks. What happened later proved Lu Tingyu right. After Shanyu adopted its new visual identity, 2 branches closed within 3 months. The reasons weren't entirely due to the design. Su Zheng's management strategy also went off track. But at least on social media, many longtime customers posted comments like, "The old design of Shanyu was so much better, why change it to this?" I didn't repost or comment on these posts. Just took a look. Then went back to what I was doing. It's been 2 years since I came to Hangzhou. At this time 2 years ago, I was sitting on a green train, with darkness outside the window. Now I'm sitting at my desk in my studio, with the night view of western Hangzhou outside the window. Subai Design already has 6 people. We've completed nearly 30 projects. This year, we've submitted an entry for the Westlake Design Award again, this time with the half-acre study case. The numbers on the bank card were enough for me to pay the down payment on a small apartment in Hangzhou. I didn't buy it. It's not the right time yet. That day, I received a call from an unknown number. He picked up the phone, and the person on the other end spoke very politely. Hello, Mr. Lin Bei, we are the organizing committee of the Yangtze River Delta Young Entrepreneurs Conference. This year's annual conference will be held in Hangzhou, and we would like to invite you as a candidate for the Emerging Designer of the Year award. What do you mean? It means you're a nominee. The final result will be determined by a combination of jury votes and live presentations. The winner will receive the award at the conference and have 15 minutes for a live showcase. How many people are attending the meeting? Last year, 1,200 people showed up. This year, we expect even more. I hung up the phone, my mind buzzing. Over 1,000 people. The scope of the Yangtze River Delta. This is no longer just a small local circle in Hangzhou. Su Ming called to confirm the news. It's true. I recommended you. But whether you get selected depends on your performance on the spot. Who else is a candidate? There are 5 people in total. He paused. One of them is Fan Yu. Of course. How could he be left out? The conference is in 2 months. I started preparing the content for the live presentation. This time, I didn't carry everything alone. Ding Ran helped me organize the cases, Zhou Nan handled the presentation layout, and Lu Tingyu helped me sort out the logic. Don't talk about what you did, Lu Tingyu said. Talk about why you did it. Is there a difference? Of course there is. 1,000 people can say, I made a beautiful logo. But can you explain why you chose this color, why you used this font, why you left white space in this particular spot? That's the part no one can copy. I spent 2 weeks reorganizing all the case studies. Not arranged in chronological order, but categorized by design concepts. Each set of case studies answers one question. A spring lantern answers. How brands use color to build memory. Mountain Nook Coffee answers. How spatial visuals convey brand personality. Shiguangli addresses the question of how to maintain unity while preserving individuality in a multi-brand environment. Banma's study addresses the question of when design should step back and let the content speak. Shanji addresses the question of the entire process of a brand's birth from zero. 5 sets of cases, 5 questions. Strung together, it represents one person's understanding of design over 2 years. On the night I finished preparing, I sat alone in the studio for a long time. Printed presentation drafts were spread out on the desk, and the streetlights outside reflected on the rain-soaked ground. 2 years ago, when I walked out of that private room, I hadn't thought about anything. I never thought I would come to Hangzhou. I never thought I would have my own studio. I never thought there would be a day when I would sit here preparing for a presentation for over 1,000 people. My phone lit up. A message. Lu Tingyu. Ready? Almost there. Nervous? Not really. Liar. I smiled slightly. A little. Normal, she said. But remember one thing. What? Your work is good. That fact doesn't change whether you're nervous or not. I looked at this message for a long time, then replied with 2 words. Thanks. Yangtze River Delta Young Entrepreneurs Conference. Hangzhou International Expo Center. Over 1,300 people. When I arrived, the venue was already more than half full. The stage is vast, the lights are bright, and the backdrop is emblazoned with the bold characters. New Edge, New Force. The candidates have a dedicated waiting area. 5 people. I am the youngest. Fan Yu sat diagonally, wearing a dark blue suit, looking quite spirited. He saw me, nodded slightly, and said nothing. I didn't know the other 3 people, so we exchanged a few brief pleasantries. The review process is as follows. Each person has a 15-minute live presentation. The review panel consists of 7 industry judges, and combined with the votes from the live audience, a comprehensive decision is made. Draw lots in order. I drew the 4th one. Fan Yu drew the 2nd one. The first one to go up was from industrial design, and the presentation was fairly standard. Fan Yu was the second to take the stage. It has to be admitted, he spoke very well. A decade of experience was evident, with each case more impressive than the last, and a client list more prestigious than the one before. At the end of his presentation, he displayed a photo of the new design for Shanyu Coffee. This is a visual upgrade project we recently completed for a chain coffee brand, he said. The original design was too niche and not suitable for large-scale expansion. We redefined its brand tone to better align with mainstream market aesthetics. Someone in the audience applauded. I sat in the waiting area, looking at that photo. That was what my work looked like after being replaced. Fan Yu is using my loss to prove his success. Ding Ran sits in the audience below and sends me a message. He's using Shanyu to elevate himself. Did you see that? I reply. I saw it. Are you going to respond on stage? I thought for a moment. No. It's my turn now. I walked onto the stage. Over 1,300 pairs of eyes were watching me. The lights shone down, making me break into a slight sweat from the heat. I didn't use any opening remarks. Opened the first set of cases directly. A spring. I projected the initial manuscript onto the large screen. This is the first brand project I worked on. 2 years ago, I was earning a monthly salary of 4,000, working at a small company that made flyers. I created this project alone at 2 a.m., after my 3 roommates in the dorm had fallen asleep, just me and the computer. Flip to the color scheme. Osmanthus yellow, Billio green, lotus root purple. Some have questioned whether this color scheme plagiarized a Japanese brand. I publicly displayed all the manuscripts, with every stroke's origin clearly cited. Flip to manuscript details. This is not a story about genius. It's about someone using clumsy methods, figuring things out step by step. Then came Mountain Nook. The dark green and natural wood color scheme appeared on the screen. This was my second branding project. Last month, the client replaced this design. The audience fell silent. I glanced at Fan Yu. He was sitting in the audience, his expression slightly changed. It's a fact that the proposal was replaced. The client has the right to choose the plan he deems more suitable. I respect that choice. But I want to say one thing. During the time this design was in use, the brand expanded from 3 stores to 6. Within 3 months after it was replaced, 2 stores closed. A low murmur of discussion arose from the audience. I'm not saying whose proposal is better. I'm saying, design isn't about whether it looks good or not. It's about whether it's right or wrong. I flipped to the next set. Shiguangli. Banma study. Shanji. Each set is not long, but each set answers a specific question. The last page. There is nothing on the screen, only a line of text. Good design needs no explanation. I stood on the stage, looking down at the audience. 2 years ago, someone told me that in this circle, it's all about time and knowing the right people. He was right. Time is indeed important, and connections are indeed useful. But there's one thing even more important than all of that. It's the work itself. If it's good, time and connections will naturally come. If it's not, no amount of time or connections can save it. I've been doing design for 2 years. Not long. But everything I've made can withstand opening the source files, pulling out the sketches, and checking every stroke. That's my only confidence. I bowed. The audience was silent for about 3 seconds. Then the applause began. Starting from the front rows, it spread backward, growing louder and louder. Someone stood up. Then more people stood up. I was on the stage, the lights were very bright. Below the stage, over 1,300 people, most of them standing and applauding. Fan Yu sat in the third row. He didn't stand up. But everyone around him did. He sat alone, his expression stiff, unsure of how to face this situation. The results came out at 5 p.m. Out of 7 jury votes, I secured 5. In the live audience vote, I received twice as many votes as Fan Yu. Rising Star Designer of the Year. When I stepped onto the stage to receive the trophy, the audience was still applauding. I didn't say any acceptance speech. Just one sentence. Thank you. As I stepped off the stage, Fan Yu was standing by the aisle. I passed by him. He called out to me. Lin Bei. I stop. Congratulations. His voice is dry. Eyes fixed on the ground. You did quite well indeed. I looked at him. The same person who mocked me for coming from a flyer design background when I first entered the industry. The same person who spread rumors behind my back that I got in through connections. This person who hired someone to write articles accusing me of plagiarism. This person who uses the replacement of Shan Yu to flatter himself. At this moment, he stands before me, saying congratulations. Mr. Fang, I said. You said you've been in this circle for 10 years? Yes. 10 years is a long time. But if what you've produced in 10 years can't beat something made in 2, then the problem isn't about the length of time. His face turned pale. I turned around and kept walking. Ding Ran's scream came from behind. President Lin! I raised my hand and waved. Stop shouting. By the time I left the venue, it was almost dark. Dozens of messages on my phone. Songke, Jianzhou, Luqing, Suming. There's one more. Lu Tingyu. Watch the live stream. How was it? Not bad. But that last remark was a bit harsh. I've been holding it in for a year. I can tell. She added a sentence afterward. Let's go out for dinner tonight. To celebrate. Okay. Fan Yu's days were not easy after that. It's not because of what I said, but because what's meant to come will come eventually. Less than a month after the conference, Su Jing of Shanyu Coffee publicly announced a brand restructuring. The new visual design created by Fan Yu was completely withdrawn. Su Jing didn't explicitly state the reason. But everyone in the industry knew that after that design went live, Shanyu's brand recognition plummeted, old customers were lost in large numbers, and online data was nearly half worse than before. Fan Yu's company lost this benchmark case, and several other clients they were negotiating with also ran into issues. 2 of them directly terminated their cooperation. The reason given was quite tactful. Our directions don't quite align. But everyone knew what was really going on. Fan Yu never publicly said anything about me again. His company shrank from 12 people to 7. They moved their office from the city center to the suburbs. One day, in an industry exchange group, I saw him post a message. Accepting brand design for small and medium-sized enterprises, with preferential pricing. No one replied below. When Ding Ran showed me this screenshot, I didn't say anything. She said, "Serves you right." I said, "Don't be like this." Why not? How did he treat you back then? That's his business. I put down my phone. It's not that I'm magnanimous. It's that I don't have the extra energy to care about someone who no longer poses a threat. It's been 2.5 years in Hangzhou. Su by Design has firmly established itself in the industry. The team has 8 people, and we're working on 4 or 5 projects simultaneously. The annual revenue figure would probably seem unreal to me from 2 years ago. Lu Tingnu's Shanji has also opened its 3rd store. Our collaboration is becoming more and more seamless. It's not just about the chemistry at work. One night after working overtime, we sat at the bar of Shanji, drinking tea. There was no one else in the shop. She suddenly asked, "Before you came to Hangzhou, was it because of a breakup?" I was stunned for a moment. "How did you know?" "Su Jing mentioned it before. He said you directly stated it during the interview." I remained silent for a while. "Yes. We broke up. I ran here." "Why?" "She kissed someone else in front of me." Lu Tingyu didn't speak. After a while, she asked, "Do you still care now?" I thought for a moment. "No, I don't." "Really?" "True. Not because I've let go, but because that person changed. I've changed too. Thinking about it now feels like recalling something about someone very distant. It has nothing to do with me anymore." She looked at me. "And now?" "What do you mean, now? Do you have someone you care about right now?" I looked at her. The mist on the teacup dissipated, revealing a faint glaze mark on the rim. "Yes," I said. She didn't press to know who it was. She picked up the cup and took a sip. The lighting at Shanji was very warm. The night outside the window was deep. We sat there, neither of us speaking again. But some things don't need to be said. To say them would be vulgar. That day came without warning. At 3 in the afternoon, I was in the studio discussing the details of a proposal with Zhou Nan. My phone rang. It was Lu Qing. "Lin Bei, do you still remember that June? What's wrong?" "He posted a long article on social media." I frowned slightly. June. A name I thought would never intersect with my life again. "What did he write?" "See for yourself. I'll send you a screenshot." I opened the screenshot. It's a very long post. The title reads, "About that incident 2 years ago, I owe someone an apology." I scrolled down. 2 years ago, a brother left his city because of an incident. I was the cause of that incident. That night at the drinking party, I was the one who stirred things up. I made his girlfriend kiss me. He saw it, left, and never came back. Many people thought it was just a joke. At the time, I thought so too. But what happened later made me realize it wasn't a joke. I liked her. For a long time. That night, I drank alcohol, got up the courage, and did that thing. It wasn't accidental. I did it on purpose. She rejected me. Scolded me. Cut off contact with me. She spent half a year looking for him. From the north to the south. She didn't find him. Later, she stopped looking. Alone in our city, she went to work, came home, and rarely went out. I don't know how she is now. I only know that the whole thing was my fault from beginning to end. Not hers. If he could see this message, Chinemo, no, Lin Bei, I don't know what you're called now. But I owe you an apology. I'm sorry. I did the most despicable thing. I finished reading. Put down the phone. Sat for a long time. Birds are chirping outside the window. In the studio, Zhou Nan is on the phone, and Ding Ran is typing on the keyboard. Everything is exactly the same as it was 5 minutes ago. But something in my mind has shifted. Not forgiveness. Nor is it being moved. Just a feeling. Of finally being whole. Those vague, uncertain things, he spoke them aloud himself. June did it on purpose. Jiangwan is innocent. She spent half a year looking for me but couldn't find me. Then she stayed alone. I picked up my phone and thought for a long time. In the end, I did nothing. Put the phone back on the table. Continued revising the proposal. 2 more months passed. The results of the Westlake Design Award were announced. The Half-Acre Study case won the Gold Award. Gold Award. Not the Silver Award. It's the Gold Award that Ding Ran mentioned last year, the one that only established studios with over a decade of experience can win. On the day of the award ceremony, Ji Yuanzhou sat in the front row of the audience. When I went on stage, he didn't applaud. He just smiled and nodded. The meaning in that smile was clear: you did it. After the awards ceremony, many people gathered around. Media, peers, clients, investors. I managed to extricate myself from the crowd. Outside the venue, in the corridor, I ran into someone. She was standing by the window, holding a glass of water. Her hair was cut shorter, and she looked thinner than 2 years ago, but her complexion was much better. Not like that night when she stood under the streetlight, swaying unsteadily in the wind. Jiangwan. She saw me, and the water cup in her hand trembled slightly. What are you doing here? Business trip. Her voice was soft. The company has a client in Hangzhou. I saw the news about the award ceremony today, so I thought I'd come take a look. Did you see it? I did. She smiled. Not the kind of forced smile, but a genuine one. Congratulations, Lin Bei. I looked at her. It's been over 2 years. Since walking out of that private room until now. Did you see He Junfa's post? I asked. She paused for a moment. Yes, I did. You know everything he said is true? I knew. Then why didn't you tell me at the time? She lowered her head. Because I felt it was my own fault. Whether He Jun meant it or not, I was the one who kissed him that day. I can't shift the blame onto someone else. The wind blew in from the end of the hallway, making the curtains flutter gently. And, she added, I was afraid you'd think I was making excuses. You came to Hangzhou to look for me. Yeah. And then? I stopped looking. She gazed out the window. If you didn't want to be found, I shouldn't have kept searching. What have you been doing these past 2 years? Working, she said. I switched from a small company to a decent internet company. Doing operations. Saved up some money. Alone? Yeah. We stood in the hallway, 2 steps apart. Lin Bei, I didn't come here today to say these things. She turned to face me. I just wanted to see you with my own eyes. See it? I see it. How is it? Good. Her voice trembled slightly but was under control. Much better than before. She placed the cup on the windowsill. I should go now. She turned to leave. Jiangwan. She stopped. That gift box. Inside is a scarf. Silver gray. You once said you wanted one. She stood there, with her back to me, her shoulders giving a slight movement. A few seconds passed. I know, she said without turning around. I never opened it. I'll open it when I get back. She left, walking very slowly. But this time, no one chased after her. I stood in the hallway, watching her figure disappear around the corner. Then I took out my phone. Lu Tingyu's message. Award ceremony over? Over. Where are you? In the hallway. Come out. I'm at the door. Taking you to eat. I put my phone away. Took a deep breath. Walked towards the door. When pushing the door open, Lu Tingyu was leaning against a plane tree, her hands tucked in her coat pockets. Seeing me, she said, Let's go. She didn't ask why I had stayed in the hallway for so long. I walked over to her side. What should we eat? You decide. Let's have noodles. Okay. We walked together down the street. The streetlights came on. In March, the plane trees in Hangzhou sprouted new buds, tender green, unfolding layer by layer under the lights. 3 years later, Su by Design moved into their own purchased office space. 160 square meters, located in a cultural and creative park in the western part of the city. The team consists of 14 people. Several project case posters hang on the walls, with 2 trophies placed in the most prominent position. 1 silver, 1 gold. The studio's reputation has extended beyond Hangzhou. Within the Yangtze River Delta region, most people in brand design have heard of the name Subai. The biggest project undertaken this year was the complete brand system for a cultural tourism town, with a contract value in the 7-figure range. I haven't let it get to my head. Still the first to arrive at the office every day and the last to leave. Ding Ran is now capable of leading projects independently, and Zhou Nan has been promoted to design director. Lu Qing eventually resigned from President Tao as well and came to Hangzhou to join me, now handling client relations. Songkuz, a spring, has expanded to 8 stores. Last year, I gave her brand a complete upgrade, and after reviewing it, she simply said one word. Okay. Ji Yuanzhou's half-acre study. expanded beyond Hangzhou, opening its first branch in Nanjing. Su Zheng's mountain nook didn't collapse, but it didn't progress further either. He later joined another design company and created a third version of the visual concept. It's said to be decent. He never contacted me again. Fogyu's company shut down completely. I heard he switched careers to become a self-media creator, teaching people how to use design thinking in self-media. Ding Ran sent me the link to his account, but I didn't click on it. He Jun's apology post was later reposted many times. He never contacted me again. Some apologies are enough when spoken. No response is needed. As for Jianwan, later, we added each other on WeChat. But we don't chat. Occasionally, she posts snippets of her daily life on social media. Work, home, and hiking on weekends. One day, she shared a photo. A silver-gray scarf, neatly folded, placed on the windowsill. The caption reads, "The third year, wearing it every winter." I saw it, didn't like it, didn't comment. But I know some things haven't disappeared. They've just taken another form, quietly staying in some corner. It doesn't hurt anymore. But it's still there. About Lu Tingyu. We didn't have a passionate beginning. No confession, no ceremony. Just one day, I sat in her Shanji shop until closing time. She turned off the lights, and we sat in the darkness for a while. She said, "Not leaving?" I said, "Not leaving." That's it. At the beginning of this year, we moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment together. It's not big, faces south, and the windows overlook a small lake. On moving day, I found a suitcase under the bed in my old dorm. Open it, and inside are the few old clothes I brought when I came to Hangzhou. There's also a movie ticket stub. It belongs to someone else. I looked at it for a few seconds, then put it into a box. Didn't throw it away. That was my path here. If thrown away, I wouldn't know where I came from anymore. Lu Tingyu stood at the door. "Ready?" "Yes." "Let's go." I closed the door. Outside the window, Hangzhou is experiencing a spring rain. Very light. Very quiet. Like the wind brushing the lake's surface. End of text.